Well, good afternoon and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Glenn Edison. We're certainly glad to see you today and have you today viewing with us. And today we're hosting Jeff and Erin Henry, owners of the Red Bird Manor. I always get that tangled up. And sorry about that. And we want to say thank you to our sponsor, BTC Fiber. And you can see this program on their YouTube channel as well as Channel 18. And Jeff and Erin, it's good to have y'all today, and we're certainly glad to be here.
Thank you, Glenn.
And since we're here at the Red Bird Manor, let's give some people, even myself, don't have the background, a little bit of history. Let's talk about that for just a minute. Can you give some of that history?
We do. We've looked in the library and searched around, and some of the folks in town have some knowledge of the home. So what we understand was construction started in 1905 and was finished in 1906. It was built by a gentleman named T.A. Pope, and it's known as the Pope House for those from that generation. Others may know it from the Aritos, and we'll go into that in a moment. But Mr. Pope was the banker in town at the time, and I think the library book that I saw that had the notation, it was First National Bank at that time in 1906. So what we understand is he and maybe 3 or 4 other gentlemen who were business leaders in town really kind of got together and decided to build their homes on Main Street. And some of these historic homes are an outgrowth of that. So 1906, we've seen pictures of the house when it was first standing, and there was not a tree on the property.
No, not one.
And it looked like it was on a little bit of a hill where we are up above road level, obviously, but it looks a little different. And obviously over time, modifications have been made. There was a widow's walk on the very top, and now it comes to a peak. The columns out front, you'll see later, are a little bit different. They were round all the way down to the porch floor, and now they've got some brick built around to help sustain them. But the house has great bones. Properties that were built in that era were built from very strong wood, and that wood today still stands. It's hard to drive a nail in to even hang a picture at this point. So the bones of the house are great, and we've just been pleased to have owned it since November of 2018.
Well, that's good. And I noticed here that a lot of the boards and things on the walls, and some of those things are probably from the original, right?
They are. They were originally covered in the horsehair and plaster and wallpaper. The Aritos actually stripped all of that, and I tell them thank you every day. I see them for doing that work. But they actually stripped that down, so these are the bare walls from the original building.
Oh, well, that's good. It's pretty. I like it.
It's beautiful. We love it.
Things like the windows are the original windows, and you see they have the little wavy glass from that time period. The mullions or the decorative work in the windows is all original as we know it, and we try to maintain it that way. We want to stay as original as we can.
Well, it's hard to see, like you said, the work in the windows, that's hard to see anymore. Now it's more insulated windows and all that. And not that it doesn't work, but you just don't see it that often. And a lot of probably the generation today, when they look at this, they just look at old houses. They just think it's an old house, but they don't realize that's the way life used to be.
Yeah. Let me give you a little background too on the architect as we know it. His name was George Barber. He lived in Knoxville, and at the University of Tennessee in the McClung Museum, there's some papers on his works. Mr. Barber was the first architect, as it's been laid out, that mass-produced house plans. And he sold those home plans through the Sears and Roebuck catalog at that time.
Really?
And so we've seen pictures of a Sears and Roebuck catalog, but we don't have an original. He had a series of magazines that he published his home plans in, and I assume that you could buy a kit at that point in time. But things like the parlor and behind us, we have, 8.5-foot pocket doors. You don't really see those pocket doors any longer, but
No.
in the formal parlor, that's something that you'd see in an old house like ours.
Right, and a little bit of a, when I know y'all do weddings here, and you have teas and other events and dinners and so forth, and a lot of people like just the style where they can have the pictures, taken here, and just the scenery makes it pretty for events like that.
We've done some fun things. We opened it up a couple of years ago for the prom students the students to come and do prom pictures here. Last year with everything going on, it was a little different, so we had a few kids come in and do prom pictures. But we want to share it with the community. It's such a big part of the history of Pikeville that it's very important for us to share it with the community.
Yeah.
Well, and that's important because in the past, I know in many communities, people tore down those, just make way for the new things, and instead of thinking, that's part of history.
Right.
Yep.
So that's why it's important to keep a lot of these houses here on Main Street here.
Yeah. We were blessed too to participate pre-pandemic 2 Christmases ago. The cancer care team in town did a fundraiser and toured the historic homes on Main Street.
Oh.
And we got to participate in that, and we really enjoyed that. And we hope that we could get back to that at some point. But had a nice crowd come through and see the beauty and splendor of the old house. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you do tours or allow people to come into the house, or?
We don't really do tours. We do live upstairs, so that's kind of the living space. But obviously, when we do events, the downstairs is open. We do open it up to photographers to come in and do sessions here. Of course, like you said, we've done weddings and teas and showers, and so that's really our goal and our part in trying to share it with other people.
Well, and it needs to be put out there because it's pretty. I mean, if you have something nice, let's show it, and that would bring tourism actually. And really, if you can tie it into tourism, they see these houses that they're probably just a lot in the South. The South used to be houses like this a lot,
Right.
And now you don't see that many.
Right.
Had a gentleman stop by 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He just drove by the house. He's from Florida, but he said that I just want to come by. It was the second time he'd stopped by. He told us we'd only met him the first time, and he came and just said, "I just wanted to come back and look at her again." So it's drawing people sometimes, and it's fun to share.
Well, sure it is, and like I say, if you're from an area that doesn't have houses like this, and when you see things like this, it perks people's interest, and they want to see things. I like to look at things,
Sure.
and especially in history. And I'm afraid we lose our history sometimes, and that's what y'all have going for you is history.
Absolutely.
And that's how she really kind of found the house. We had a place up on Wheeler Mountain that we used as a vacation getaway weekend type place, and
we came over to go to the grocery store when we're driving around, and we saw this house, and we saw it was for sale, and we could tell she needed some love.
Yeah.
But I tell people it's probably the most irrational decision we've ever made. But we're thrilled that we made it because we love it. We absolutely love it, and we hope we're doing her justice with what we've done with the place. So.
Love the town, love the people, and as far as doing weddings or showers, it's a nice affordable option for people who are looking for a destination or a place to do a wedding. So many of them, are really costly, and Erin's done a nice job, I think, keeping that cost under control. For the people that have had a wedding here, I think they would back that up. So.
Well, I know now that's the big thing. A lot of wedding venues, people are building these places for wedding venues, but they're pretty extravagant. Some of them are extravagant.
Yes.
They are.
And but this is pretty. It's just home like setting. So it's, you're not having to go somewhere way out, and you know, you're just right here at home.
Yeah.
And the people here are wonderful. They've been good people, and it's a lovely place. You know, being just here in the South is just a lovely place.
Yeah.
I'm kind of prejudiced a little bit.
We are too. Now the community has been wonderful. We're so happy here. We're thrilled. Yeah.
Well, how did you come up with the name Bird Manor?
Well, our cabin that we had over in Spencer was the cardinal's nest, and so we just kind of kept with that. And my mom loves redbirds, loves cardinals, so we just kind of kept with that theme when we were trying to come up with a name. We didn't want to call it the Pope House. We didn't want to call it the Arito House, so we wanted it to be something new, but still pay homage to the history of the home. So.
Well, that's neat because I like cardinals. So they're pretty.
And we have a yard full usually.
Yeah, we do.
You know, in the winter.
We do.
Yeah.
We've had a couple, a pair I think probably it's camped out in the last couple of winters back here in a redbud, not redbud, redbud.
Well, you know, they're prevalent around here in this area. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I like sitting on the porch and just watching them. I'm sure y'all probably do too.
We do.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a little house out back that was originally built in the 70s as a mother-in-law suite. And so when we purchased the property, we gutted that and have put that together. It's kind of operates now as the bridal suite. So the ladies can have their own place to get ready and do the things that they need to do in a defined space.
Right.
Yeah. So that works out well for us too. So we've got that space out back.
Sure it does. And I know later on we're going to go out and tour the area a little bit and get some shots of the different areas around here. And you know, but just sitting in here, I like just seeing everything in here. It's pretty. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just pretty.
Thank you.
We love the you know, again, down to the original walls. The woodwork in the place is just beautiful. Staircase behind you, and I'm sure we'll get some shots of that. But again, as we know it, it's all original. Yeah.
Well, and just like you said, the way you have it set out here and with all the furniture and everything, it's not what I consider richy, you know, as maybe, I don't know if that's a word or not, but
We wanted it to be comfortable. You know, I mean, we wanted people to feel comfortable when they came in, and so by using actually pieces that have been handed down through our family, we felt like that kind of did the trick. It made people feel at home, and they didn't worry about coming in and sitting on the furniture because we don't want that. You know, we want people to come in and be very comfortable in here.
and just have a good time. Huh?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I'm sure I'm sure they do with y'all as hosts.
Well, we've had so many people because the Popes, Mr. Pope, Mrs. Pope did not have kids, but they took kids in basically and welcomed them into their home. This is the stories we've been told. And then the Aritos had kids, and lots of people have told us over time they played in this house. In fact, there's a small landing on the stairs, and I can't tell you, a half dozen have said, we used to jump off that landing.
And it seems so tall, you know, it's really fun. It's fun to hear the stories, and you can definitely tell the generational divide between the Pope house and the Arito house. But both families owned it for many, many years. And it didn't change, it didn't change hands a lot.
Yeah.
So it's been really fun to hear all the stories of people growing up and gosh, I haven't seen that house in 30 years or 20 years or whatever. So
if the walls could talk, they could tell a
absolutely, I bet they could. We hear back in the Pope era, in the very early times, that they actually utilized some of the spaces upstairs and did dances and things like that. They held events in the ballroom, they called it.
Yeah.
We have it set up as a man cave. But that's his space.
And it's not that huge. I mean, you could probably get 25 people dancing in there.
Maybe.
And it goes across the front of the house. But when I try to imagine that, it's hard for me to imagine.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there wasn't as many people back then.
Maybe.
in those circles. Well, and like I said, with the trees give it a nice shade too. You said it wasn't originally trees here, so it gives us a nice shade to the area, and especially when you have events. I'm sure in the summer.
Yes.
Yeah.
They like that shade.
Yes.
So we think, obviously, some of these trees are very old, and now a few of them have come down on their own, and we've taken a few down. But these big trees outside, we imagine that they're 80 to 100 years old now. So after they initially constructed the house, I'm sure they put these trees in for just that, for the shade, and it does a really nice job. And you can find shade in about any part of the day.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So it stays pretty cool in here then.
It does, actually. These walls are very well insulated.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's one thing we can learn from earlier construction. When they did things, they did it well.
Yes.
I'm not criticizing today's construction, but it's just different.
Well, just the fact that what good shape this house is in to be 115 years old,
Right.
it says a lot about the construction of it.
Well, a lot of houses that old would not even be standing; they'd be falling in.
Right.
So that's good. And I guess your experience, though, has been good with the house and the community, with all the events and everything.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
We've been welcomed with open arms, getting to know more people, involved in our church and our community, and trying to get more so.
Well, good. Now, where are y'all originally from? You told me once before, and I can't remember.
Knoxville.
Yeah.
Knoxville. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So, up at UT town, huh?
Oh, yes. Both UT grads.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I picked that up on yours. And, well, then, so it's been good, really, for the local economy as well, for y'all to have this and promote it like you have.
Yeah, we haven't pushed it a lot. It's really we've kind of worked from word of mouth and things like that. But again, for us, it was an opportunity to offer an affordable option for the local folks, and obviously folks from outside the area too. But our focus and our goal is really to give the locals something affordable but beautiful at the same time.
Well, that helps a lot of people from all age groups and all areas where they can have something really nice, because weddings, are very expensive.
They can be crazy.
Yeah. So you have to be careful on just little things. But so y'all have had a lot of I guess, what am I trying to say, a lot of local people that have really come in and supported y'all and everything.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. We've done small weddings with, the bride and groom and 5 witnesses, all the way up to a 250 person reception.
Really?
And probably don't want to do those big events like that. We're more designed for the smaller events, but
yeah, just with the indoor space, the larger ones they're great for outside. It can be 100 or it can be 40 outside, so you never know with the outside space. But for the inside space, we're definitely geared towards the smaller, more intimate wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I find a lot more people are going towards that anyway. I think maybe because of cost for one thing, and then sometimes they get scared or embarrassed. They don't want a lot of people there.
we've seen a wide range.
Yeah, we have.
I know of my wedding, I said awfully wedded instead of lawfully wedded. One nervous about My wife tells me she's trying to live up to it too.
Oh, funny.
But she's a sweetheart. I love her to death. Well, this is a great opportunity for this community, and I'm sure they're well pleased with y'all and how y'all responded. And you said with your church, where do y'all go to church?
Well, actually, right across the street.
Right across the street. It's great. We can walk to church.
Yeah.
So, but again, our church has been a big part of really how welcome we felt in the community.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good, because I know church family is always a good way to get
It's
started.
very important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is very important.
Yep.
Well, how can, if people wanted to get in touch with y'all about having an event here, how would they do that?
So we have a website. It's redbirdmanor.com. We also have a Facebook page. You can message us through there. My contact information's on there. So those are the two easiest ways to get to us.
All right. Well, we'll make sure that gets out. And anything else y'all want to add that maybe we haven't asked or gone over that you think is important that we need to?
I can't think of anything.
No, I mean, it's been a pleasure. Again, we hope that the community will, come out and see us from time to time, and we welcome those types of things when we have the opportunity, and we're just glad to be a part of it.
Well, I know y'all are very involved in the local community as well as some of the events that go on here. And, you got one coming up this weekend, actually.
Yeah.
The Fall
Festival this weekend.
And then the Christmas lights program. And
I'm sure people are tired of seeing my face at this point, but we're making great progress on our Light Up the Town project for the Christmas lights. We still need help, and so you can see that also at our Facebook page, Light Up the Town, Pikeville's Holiday Lights, and we're working through that.
Well, I think that'll be pretty once you get all of Main Street lit up.
It'll be beautiful.
I
We have a
can't wait.
gorgeous downtown, and our whole thought was when we talked to Lola is, this is such a beautiful little town. We need to light it up. We need to draw people in, and so that was just kind of our vision, and we just decided this year people needed a little more happy, and so we just decided to give it a shot and see how it goes.
Well, they do. It's been kind of depressing with all the things that are going on with the virus and everything, and all the different people have health issues that's been going on,
Right.
even the deaths, and that's been depressing.
It's been
and
tough.
It's one way to get people back to remembering the good old times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we felt with it being lights and things like that, so even if there are people who aren't comfortable being out amongst people, they can get in their cars and they can drive through and still get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be others off the main street that'll light up as well. So
Absolutely, we want it to spread as far as we can get it to spread. We want it to.
It'd be nice to have one of those satellite views of the.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly been a pleasure today, and we hope, like I said, we're going to get around and get some views of the house and the surrounding area. So, but I appreciate you, and folks, remember you can see us on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber Channel 18, and don't forget, you've got some things coming up in Pikeville for these festivals and Christmas lights, so watch for those as well. Thank you. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.